Start your business day right. Morning Drive with Tim Elliott on Mira Business FM.
It's the Morning Drive. It's on the website, mirabusiness.fm. My name's Tim Elliott. Welcome. It's on YouTube, Twitch, Dailymotion, Rumble, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, etc. The podcasts that we create are available pretty much everywhere you get your podcasts from. So we're available to listen or watch again or both. Just search MIRA, Mira Business FM, wherever you do get your downloads. And a subscription is always appreciated as well. Let us know how you feel. Give us a thumbs up or not if you prefer. Contact us, info@mira.fm. That's the email address, or you can WhatsApp without the number, whatsapp.mira.fm. This morning, we kick off talking media. So media here in the UAE, traditional, legacy, online, audio, video, social media, whatever your thing is, it's being discussed this week at the Bridge Summit in Abu Dhabi. Now, it's probably fair to say media is one of the UAE's most dynamic sectors. So what we've got is a whole collection, a caboodle, somebody said to me. I'm not quite sure what that means, but loads of global thinkers, creators, and industry leaders here to see what's happening, to perhaps explore collaborations, and to consider the future of the creative industry. As media folk like to do, they are mingling. So here to talk about the summit, how media is evolving at the heart of the UAE's creative economy, is Rory McLoughlin. He is a filmmaker, he's the creative force behind Like Minds UAE, and he's an executive producer at Film by People. Rory, it's good to have you here.
Good morning.
You're very welcome. I'm hoping that you can kind of help us understand how the UAE's media landscape is sort of shifting, Rory, what it means for brands, what it means for creators, for industries across the Emirates. But I wanted to start really with you, just to set you. Big intro there, filmmaker, creative force, executive producer. Tell us about, describe your work, first of all.
Well, my work as an executive producer is to oversee production, film production, basically.
Yeah.
We focus on storytelling.
Okay.
And we're based in Abu Dhabi, Film by People. So we make content for either events or to promote events or a lot of government work as well. It's all in Abu Dhabi.
And you've been here for what? We were talking off air just there. You've been here 15 years, so you've some experience of, I mean, you've been here for the real growth, the kind of, the cataclysmic growth that we've seen recently. How's the ride been?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, specifically from a media perspective, our industry has had a huge change.
Yeah.
We were built on TV commercials from a commercial perspective, right?
Yeah.
And now social media has been around for at least 10 years now, and the industry is still evolving from that TV commercial style of media into social media. Even then, it's still evolving.
It's amazing. I can't believe social media is 10 years old. It feels like it's yesterday to me that it suddenly turned up. It also feels like, I don't know if you feel this, it still sort of feels as though there's a little bit of trepidation from old school legacy media types in some ways, as that's for the kids, stay over there. We're not quite sure how that works. But in a decade, you'd think that we'd have accepted it. Does it feel like that to you?
It depends what we're making.
Really?
Yeah. So say, for instance, are we making something to bring attention to something? Are we trying to create an impression of either an event or of a piece of communication? Or is this something for a CEO and their ego, for instance?
Right. Okay. Yeah, I suppose so. It's funny to me because radio used to be a couple of microphones, very simple mixing desk, which you would usually run yourself. Now, radio morphed into TV about 10 or 12 years ago as well. So you're right, we've seen huge change, I think, or huge development. Maybe that's a better way to describe it. Let's talk about the Bridge Summit a little bit, if we can. You were there yesterday. I know you've been kind of following it closely. There's always this thing that events, there are so many kind of corporate events, and there are some really huge events here. I'm thinking of GITEX, events with real impact as well. This is the first Bridge Summit, and it kind of pulls together lots of disparate kind of media threads. And when you walk in and you think, this is going to be good. And this is how it felt for you yesterday, I guess.
Yeah. Walking in, just feeling like these are my people.
Really?
But then also, living here and working in the industry for 15 years and not recognizing a lot of people there. That was exciting in itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there was an opportunity to talk to people?
Oh, big time. Lots of networking going on, and everyone's there for a purpose, which is to network and find business.
Yeah, okay. So it wasn't like a jolly. This was a serious event. People looking to talk to people.
But a bit of a social jolly, though. It's easy to approach people and just introduce yourself.
Well, I was going to ask you that. You were talking as we were kind of setting up and getting you, sat down and all that sort of stuff about a couple of the people that you met. But it was access that you mentioned. You were just kind of walking up to people and thinking, I know you.
Yeah.
I need to talk to you.
Yeah. I mean, as a producer, you've got to have your idols, people that you look up to. Yeah, sure. And to see Tommy Harper there, Top Gun, Wednesday, Star Trek, executive producer, to be able to wait for him to finish his talk and wait off stage and have a little conversation with him, that kind of access is near impossible. Yeah. So I'm really appreciative that the Bridge Summit has been able to facilitate that.
Yeah, okay. And what did Tommy Harper say to you? What did you ask him? Can you even share that?
Yeah, sure. No, because his forum was on how to create a filmable city, basically. Okay. And there's a lot of talk about that in the Emirates at the moment. Not just Abu Dhabi with their rebate, but Dubai has just set up a film committee to develop film in Dubai. And so it's a real hot topic.
I guess it's very easy to think that Dubai, when you look in on Dubai and you see the social media of Dubai and you see the promotion of Dubai, and Dubai has been incredibly successful at branding itself and emerging as a tourist destination, as a very attractive kind of luxury destination. That's a lot of the stuff that we see on social media. But that needs to be thought through, and that's something that you've kind of lived through, Dubai and the UAE, to be fair, because Abu Dhabi is the same, Ras Al Khaimah is the same as well. When it comes to branding itself and being seen in a particular light, we've seen a lot of success in that. Starting, I guess, with Dubai, but it's been a few years now.
Yeah, and I think also with the UAE Media Council, I think that they're starting to pull everybody together. Everyone was kind of operating separately, and now the UAE Media Council is overseeing a bit of that and bringing them together. I mean, we've recently seen the social media permit that we need to get now. Yeah. And I think that's great. It's great to regulate us like that.
Well, it is as well. And, it's the nice thing about that, I think, is it's free for a few years, isn't it? And then even the prices after that are not, extortionate. They seem reasonable. But it seems sensible to me that you bring everybody together. The other thing with that is you hopefully encourage a bit of quality.
Yes. In
terms of presentation as well, which I guess, quality's available in varying degrees with some filmmaking and social media. So the mood was good, and you felt as though you had access to people, you could approach people. Who's there? Who's been speaking? Who did you see yesterday?
I mean,
apart from Tommy Harper.
Idris Elba opened the ceremony.
Oh, of course he did.
That was really interesting. I mean, that was a focus on Africa. And that was really refreshing in that you can go to a lot of these events here and it can be quite country-specific or Emirate-specific. Yeah. But this was it felt like create the UAE as a hub for the region and to include Africa in that.
What was Idris like?
Very humble. Yeah, very humble, very, very easy going guy, but also very experienced and passionate about filmmaking and storytelling.
He's a really interesting guy, actually, because he comes from, humble beginnings. I mean, the story is kind of well known. People in the UK at the moment, he lives in West London, he lives in a place called Barnes, and they're upset with his Halloween decorations, apparently. That's all you see. But you forget the effect that he's had, the things that he's been in, the things that he's done. And he's done a whole range of comedy to, do I need to mention The Wire, his performance in The Wire? I probably don't, but he kind of pops up with serious stars. His career is stellar.
Yeah. What was interesting yesterday is that, someone of his caliber is always approached for philanthropic kind of ideas, or how can he help the community, and had all of these different things going on. He's put that all under one umbrella. I can't remember the name of it, but it showed that he has a serious commitment to that.
Yeah, that's kind of how he comes across. He also would have been a great James Bond. I have to
Yeah,
say
I
as
agree.
well. I don't think there's any argument about that. What kinds of themes do you think are emerging from the summit, or what kinds of themes that may emerge from the summit do you think might have some impact on this sector? Is there anything that stands out from the
Yeah,
summit?
I mean, like I mentioned, I think it's about placing Abu Dhabi and the UAE as a hub for the region, for media. It really felt like Abu Dhabi's flexing its muscle a bit in the
Really?
region. Yeah, that was quite cool to see.
Okay.
There was a lot of emphasis on good storytelling,
Yeah.
not just from filmmaking perspective, but media in general.
Okay.
AI was a really hot topic, and finally there was influential people talking about AI, not just as an opportunity, but also in terms of the misinformation and the threat on good quality storytelling as well.
Okay. How do you view AI in your trade?
I think there's a misconception in that a lot of people think AI is going to is solely about, for instance, image creation or writing script prompts and things like that. That's a small part of AI. In our business, we use it all the time. But I also think we're a bit confused between AI and new technology now. You know, like if a new addition happens on a platform, we're like, oh, that's AI. Well, it's just evolving technology as well.
Yeah, I suppose so. That's an interesting way to look at it. But it's something that I always think we're all so worried about it. I have a friend who is really doom and gloom, and he's always, Tim, it's going to be the end of the world. It's awful. It's going to take all of our jobs. And I just think, well, it will take some. But, we had the Luddites who destroyed all the machines because they were worried about that. And, life went on and it changed and it moved forwards. But I just wonder about it. I think it's something we have to harness. We have to understand that we need to harness. And you have to kind of this word, it's the word you hear all the time, but you have to engage with it.
Yeah. I think that AI itself, right now, the image that it has
Yes.
is its own worst enemy.
Yeah, quite right.
And in the advertising world, each year there's a different fad. We had 3D, we had the metaverse, and so on. So the advertising and commercial world looks at AI almost like a bit of a fad. Like we think this kind of style is going to disappear in the next year or so. And there is a push back to original, authentic, organic storytelling. And there were some really interesting topics yesterday on that, forums talking about that.
Do you find that people respond when you produce something and you think, no, I know this is a really good story and that was a really great twist in the tale? Or do you think that we engage with that much better? Do you think that hits us in a different way?
Now or
and just as people in general,
Yeah.
I feel as though a really great story, when you get really drawn in, that's kind of unbeatable.
Yeah. I think for a long time in the media industry, we focused on the look. I mean, look at the Avengers films, and it was all about the 3D graphics and all this stuff. But actually, it comes down to a good story. People will engage in that.
Yeah. I'm so glad you said that. From your vantage point as a filmmaker, how would you describe the UAE's kind of media ecosystem, the momentum in the ecosystem? It seems to me that things have really started to heat up. If you think very recently, in the last kind of week, just over the last week, The Multiplier Effect was released, the film that EDB, Emirates Development Bank, sponsored. And it's a really good example, I think, of how corporates can kind of creatively highlight what they're doing, the way the country is moving. Because that's kind of focusing on how financial support creates job growth and innovation. What would your comment be on that kind of development? Because that seems to be something that's gathering momentum to me.
It's interesting, but I am a little bit skeptical, mainly because I've been in that world for a long time, and businesses will always have an agenda in what they want to say and put their hands in it. And I feel like in order to create trust and authenticity in these stories, there's got to be some independence.
Okay. How do you ensure that you do that? Because it seems to me that the multiplier effect, as the example, whether you like it or don't, I'm not talking about what you see, but the idea of that, I think it seems to have been harnessed in quite a clever way, in a creative way.
Mm-hmm. I'm always interested in that. When we get commissioned to make films, for instance, we're commissioned because we're experts in what we do.
Yeah.
So we need to be trusted in our art form as well. So I feel like when we're making, for instance, a story about this, that a client, for instance, they can focus on doing their business, but let us work in our zone.
It's the eternal media battle, though,
Yeah.
isn't it? That, you've got to trust me to do this, and I will do this from an independent point of view.
Not just an independent point of view, but we know what we're talking about.
Yeah. No, I've got you. How would you characterize support for media? In your case, I guess, filmmaking here in the Emirates. I mean, there's no doubt we've got the skills here. We've got the gear here now. It's funny, Shane Martin, who did the Multiplier Effect, was in last week before, talking about it, talking about when he was first here in the 80s and the 90s. They would bring sandbags full of sand to hold the tripods up for the lights, etc., which is amused me greatly. But the fact is, everything is here now. But is the necessary permits are available? Is the funding available in this region to make, to tell real stories?
I think the funding is a hot topic. It's not there. The funding is available for some specific groups. I feel that just like business, it's got to be competitive, and it should be open for everybody to have access to that. I feel like, say for instance, Abu Dhabi's got the rebates, and some of the best rebates in the world you can access there. That obviously attracts huge productions and can create opportunities for media or filmmakers. Opportunities for storytelling here in Dubai. I think that, like I said recently, the committee that's set up for filmmaking here, I think it's going to create a lot of opportunities for us.
Okay. What is it about the UAE that makes it such a kind of fertile environment? I mean, you pointed to it a little bit earlier, but when it comes to content creation, forget the sun and all the weather and the nice luxury environments. There's a lot more behind the scenes than that. But what makes it so fertile when it comes to making quality content and telling real stories?
I think it actually comes down to why we're here as expats.
Okay.
I think we're here as expats because we want to make something. We want to do something with our lives. That's why we've left our homelands and we've moved here, for instance. Right? And so we have this motivation to actually do something, and then we've got a story to tell. It's not that we've just, for instance, in our own home countries where we've, grown up in a small town and stayed in that small town. No, we've left that, and then we're hungry to do something with our lives.
So it's kind of a bigger picture kind of mentality.
Yeah.
Okay. What would you like to tell? What story? Is there anything in your mind? I'm completely off topic here. This has nothing to do with any of the notes I've made. But is there something that you, are mulling over or thinking about? Is there a story that you'd like to tell here?
There is a little story that I've got I'm developing at the moment.
Okay.
So I'm sure we'll talk about it at some point, but Like Minds is a community that I run for filmmakers.
I was going to ask you. I mean, you're wearing the hoodie, so I can't avoid it.
I
But
will get there. Yeah. So Like Minds is a community of filmmakers and creatives, and we meet up once a month. And some of the creatives there, I would like to collaborate with them to create a story.
Okay.
I'm looking at the different kind of trends that are happening in the Arab and the fashion world happening at the moment. And this idea of the retro clothing or CDs, tapes, cassettes, all of that is very and there's a trend right now. Yeah. So there's a film concept that I'm developing at the moment about that story, basically of the development of that between a child whose father is quite strict and conservative, but then wants to live in this other world.
Okay. And is it likely to see the light of day soon? Have you got to a point? Oh, okay. If you told me you'd have to kill me, that kind of thing. Yeah, I know. I'm with you. Before we get on to Like Minds, and I want to talk to you about Like Minds because I was looking through your Instagram last night, and there's a huge amount more than I realised going on just with that side of your life, I guess. When it comes to brands, I know obviously you work with lots of different brands or have brands, and you have worked with lots of different brands over the years. But are you seeing, the big brands in this region rethink storytelling strategies now as opposed to just a few years ago with this explosion of, media? Yeah,
big time. And I think that's the communication that's been told by either the PR or their agencies, which is great information to get. Previously, it was, say, for instance, a TV commercial, and it would be thrown in your face, forced to watch. And, the media makers of the time would not think that people would just, leave that or swipe across it. They think that they're going to watch that whole piece, that whole 30 seconds. Now, we need to fight for that attention.
Yeah.
And so a good story, intriguing, that's going to grab the attention and keep their attention the whole way through. I think a great example of that is a recent Uber campaign.
Okay, I haven't seen it. What?
So it's quite interesting. When you order your Uber, for instance, right, you've got that period of time between ordering it and it arriving.
Wondering if it's going to turn up.
Yeah. So the story happens in between that time period.
Very clever. Okay. Does that add extra pressure to you as a filmmaker, or is that a really welcome challenge, or is it both?
Both, yeah. Welcome challenge. I mean, as filmmakers, we've been trying to say that storytelling is the way forward forever. But often a brand can get involved and the focus is more on the brand rather than the actual engaging story itself.
Okay. Because the only way I can equate that is to every day we'll do however many interviews we do, 4, 5, 6 interviews, whatever it is. And there's always this kind of pressure to look for an angle or to maybe ask the perfect question, which has yet to happen, I have to be honest, but there's always that. But it's kind of, oh God, but then, it's a challenge. And it's that kind of feeling that you get. I don't know if I'm equating it very well.
Yeah, but it's a great challenge. I love that kind of a challenge.
I can see in your eyes, the eyes kind of lit up there. How's the term influencer received these days? That was a question I wanted to ask.
I think it's evolved. I think for a long time, we had this idea in the media industry that influencers had this kind of prima donna kind of a look and style and feel to them. Now I think that influencers take their roles a lot more seriously and professionally, and they realize that it's a business, and in order to get booked, they've got to act professionally as well.
I like that because I have a friend who has done really well in that space. And I always said, you're just a social media influencer. And she would always say, no, I'm a content creator. And but her attitude is very much that, take it very seriously to shoot, with a professional team, etc. Just let me get back to the summit very quickly. Then I want to ask you about Like Minds. Presence of international delegates. You've mentioned Tommy Harbour, who you ran into. Idris Elba was there. So lots of people coming in with, vast experience. Global media players at the summit. What does the presence of people like that mean when it comes to influencing, the kinds of conversations that we have here in the UAE media? Do you think?
What's interesting is that the Bridge Summit isn't just a filmmaking summit. It's not just a storytelling summit. There's tech, there's finance associated with media. Yep. It's the entire ecosystem, all of the different silos coming together. There's diplomacy involved as well. So, yesterday I saw the guy Mackie from I think it was Senegal, and so you've got world leaders there as well.
It's a huge number of people there as well. How many? What was the figure? I think you said it earlier on.
Yeah, they announced 55,000 have signed up for the event.
It's just unreal.
Yeah. Yesterday they counted 15,000 footfall through the door. Yeah.
Let me talk to you about Like Minds, the UAE's creative community. So, where did the idea come from for Like Minds?
So before I was an executive producer, I was a director, and I wanted to find ways where I could connect with producers or creative directors from agencies. And rather than them just calling them up or sending them a text message saying, hey, what have you been up to? I thought, well, I could invite them out into a social setting.
Yeah.
And so it started like that with, 5 people sitting around the table, and then the next month 10, and then we thought, well, we should actually put a name to this, and Like Minds came about, and now, we've been...
It's not 5 or 10 people around the table now.
We're at least 100, 120 people a month at the moment.
Because it looks to me like, and I mean this with the greatest respect, it looks like a bit of a party to me now. There's a lot of people there. Yeah. There are a lot of conversations going on.
Yeah.
But it seems like a really... that kind of, I'm going to a networking event kind of thing. And this is that, but it's not a networking event at all. It's not kind of, have you got your business card kind of thing. This is where I'm guessing people are having some kind of real, what's the term? Real world conversations. It looks like that to me from your social media. If it's not that, you presented it really well, so there's a job done.
It is a social event.
Yeah.
And newcomers who come along, I always try to say to them that even though this is your first time, it was someone else's first time. So go and introduce yourself, and they will be open to meeting you. And because it's in a more of a social setting, you don't have that kind of dry pressure to, hi, this is my business card, you know. It's more like, I try to give them some tips, like, don't just go in cold to introduce yourself. Ask them, what have they been working on recently? Or what's a project that they're most proud of? Like, go in with a really interesting icebreaker.
It's a really difficult thing to do, I think, networking. Because when it's that dry situation, I'm terrible. I'm just kind of, and then I get nervous and I talk too much and I talk complete nonsense.
Well, the other side to that is something that I'm really trying to introduce to the Like Minds community is that we, as those who the OGs, I guess you say, who've been there for a while, it's also our responsibility to introduce others. And to create business opportunities there as well. So through our knowledge of connecting people, we put people together as well.
It's kind of a pay it forward, sharing sort of thing.
It is.
Yeah, okay. One of the things about the UAE, and you've heard this a million times, I'm sure, we've got 180 nationalities, 200 nationalities, I don't know how many nationalities we've got in the country. How crucial is it to be, here's the word, this is the word of the interview, authentic, in terms of, to be culturally authentic, to be genuine to who you are, where you're from, when you're presenting media, because the audience base is huge, it's diverse. You've really got to get that right. Is that something that you think about
a lot?
Yeah, I bet.
A lot. Yeah. I think a lot about the Dubai culture and what does that mean to me.
Yeah.
As someone who's been here for a long time, originally a New Zealander, but I don't lead with that I'm a New Zealander. I'm an expat or I'm a resident living here in the UAE.
Yeah.
That's what I like to lead with. And I see developing subcultures that are going on here. You've got ethnic cultures and then you've got different music cultures or fashion cultures. And so to appeal to all of those can be quite interesting, but also if you nail it and you get that bit of media or communication down, and then that's effective. And from an advertising perspective, that's what people are looking for, more niche, effective advertising.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, I can't think of anybody really nailing it. Is there something that
that's why micro-influencers are such a hot topic now. It's no longer these massive influencers that appeal to everybody. People want to appeal to a specific niche to do with the product.
Let me ask you a little bit about the business. We are a business FM station. I should talk about business rather than social media and influencing and movies and whatever. But where do you think the business opportunities are emerging in the media sector in the UAE at the moment? What do you see?
We just kind of touched on it a little bit in terms of authentic storytelling.
Yes.
And I'm seeing the different Emirates here realizing that they are working on their own brands, the images of each emirate.
Yeah.
If I can talk about Abu Dhabi specifically, the work that's coming out of Abu Dhabi is so unique in its look and feel and focus on good storytelling. And I think that that's been a directive from quite high up, and it's refreshing. It's great to we should be elevating the level of the look and feel of the media that's coming out of the region.
How would you describe that look and feel?
So in Abu Dhabi, it's refined with an element of nostalgia. I think nostalgia plays a huge part. There is less of this appeal previously, which I would call conservative, right? And which would just be kind of like black and white, everyone's smiley and everyone's happy. Yeah. Now there's a lot more character. There's a lot more color. There's a lot more, when I say color, more... it's not just your black and white. There is elements of jewellery or, for instance, if we're working with Emiratis, different coloured abayas, for instance.
Right.
And so that's coming through. The look in terms of from a technical perspective, we call it a low contrast filter. And that creates halation in the highlights. I know that sounds a bit technical, but that's a very specific look and feel that's coming out of Abu Dhabi, and that's quite exciting.
Well, see, that's interesting because that, I think, is kind of hard to do. I think of, well, let's take Top Gun, Tommy Harper, for example. The look of Top Gun, I know it's an 80s movie, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not really a fan of the movie, but put that to one side. The look of Top Gun stands out today as much as it did then. It looks very different, I think.
Yeah.
It has a real look and a feel. I don't know if I'm explaining that well.
Yeah, it's cinematic, right? It's been made by.
It has a look of speed.
Yeah.
It has a like a real kind of forward momentum to it, which I think almost tells the story. Mm-hmm. You know, it helps the story for sure. Yeah,
and that's part of the school of good filmmaking. Is we talk about this term, camera language. What does the movement of the camera or the style or the framing, how does that play a part in the storytelling itself?
Yeah. It's so interesting because these are the things that you don't really think about, but they're there, and it's very hard to sort of verbalize. It's very hard to get across what you see. I don't know, what was the other movie that always comes to mind? E.T. comes to mind because of the way it was filmed down low, almost from a child's perspective for much of the film, almost all of the film. That's fascinating.
I mean, Steven Spielberg is an expert storyteller. The thought that goes into that. I mean, Jaws is one of the best films ever made, and it's not just a thriller about a shark trying to attack humans.
No,
but the way that he tells the stories and the framing and the camera movement. Even someone say like Steven Soderbergh, the camera doesn't move unless it has to.
Okay.
And if there's movement in the camera, that's part of the story.
I love Ocean's 11 for as much as it's a caper movie, but I love the fact that it was so gold. Mm-hmm. And that I don't know. I thought that added so much to the story. We're right off topic now. I've got one more question for you. I'm sorry, I could talk for hours. What final kind of thoughts from you as somebody with a whole wealth of experience here? What kinds of advice would you have for creators or maybe companies as well? Mm-hmm. What would you like to see to cut through the noise? Because the media landscape is widening and widening. It's the ever-widening gyre, I think, here. How do you think people can kind of cut through and make an impact?
It's interesting. I see a lot of storytelling in terms of people's stories going on at the moment from brands, which is nice and it's authentic. Yep. I'm worried that those individual stories are going to flood the market because that will then become a trend. So how do then those authentic stories stand out and be different?
Yeah.
I mean, we talked a little bit about the look and feel. If you can create a cinematic film look, then automatically a consumer associates that with a more refined brand, for instance, right? So I think that the more cinematic filmmaking is going to be more prevalent. And I think brand origin stories are going to be becoming more of a trend as well.
Okay.
And actually investing into that, not just, a series of slideshows of old photos, but actually a brand recognizing in the next 10 years, we need to be able to tell our authentic story, so let's capture the story now.
I like it. Okay, now I'm with you. Rory, I'm going to get chastised for running 7 minutes over time, but, sometimes you've got to beg for forgiveness, not ask for permission, I think. Rory McLoughlin is a filmmaker. He's the creative force behind Like Minds UAE, a gathering of creative types. He's an executive producer at Film by People and an attendee at the Bridge Summit in Abu Dhabi this week. It's been great having you here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
This is Mira Business FM.